This is a Squier Bullet Stratocaster HT in a fiery Fiesta red. Let's check it out. Hey, how's it going? I'm Landon. This is my channel, Landon Bailey. I don't think I've ever said that before. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and click a like on the video. If you do like this video, let's get this video to 16 million likes. Let's do it. You can help me. Power of the internet. If you're new to my channel, you probably haven't seen this, the previous video I did. I always do like a first impressions and unboxing video. I'll put that up in the cards. You can go check that out. It's where I got this guitar and I take it out and I go over it the first time and take a look at it. So now this is what I call a deep dive video, where we're gonna actually go into the guitar. I do like three things, right? I do a quick walkover of the specs, then we go into a super deep dive where I take the guitar and I go inside it, look at everything, do like a tear down, check out all the specs, the weight, the resistance of the pickups, all that kind of stuff, and then you get to hear it mic'd up with a proper microphone and amplifier, because I think it's good to hear it. It's okay to hear it in the room, which I do in the initial impressions one, but I think it's better to have it mic'd up just because you want to hear what it's going to sound like if you're recording it. So you get both. Also forgot to mention, then we'll wrap up the video at the end. I'll do a summary, my pros and cons, and I'll let you know if I recommend this guitar or not. Yeah, so take a look at the timestamps. You can see the different sections and you can move around and find what you're looking for in this video. Let's start off with a quick walkthrough of the specs. So, as I mentioned, this is a guitar made by Fender's Squier brand. Designed and backed by Fender. They always say that in the back here. It's a 2020, crafted in Indonesia, and it's called the HT. So Bullet Stratocaster HT. HT stands for hardtail, meaning there's no trem system. So a little bit simpler if you were thinking of getting this guitar, if you're a first-time guitar buyer, like maybe you're looking at getting something. It's just one less thing to worry about. So let's go down the guitar here, and we'll talk about it. So it's got the standard Squier tuners that you see on all the Squier guitars. It's got like a satiny, kind of a raw feeling neck on the back. The fingerboard is an Indian Laurel, and we'll get into all the specific specs, like I mentioned in the deep dive, so I'm just gonna run down it quickly here. It's in I think this is a pretty cool color. It's a Fiesta red. It's very different. It's almost like an orange-red mix, like a paint color kind of. It's a bolt-on neck. We've got the Squier logo on the back here. It's a 5-way selector, which is pretty standard for a Stratocaster. And then, like I mentioned, the hardtail bridge. And it doesn't go through the body, so you can see that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's string through and there's top loaded. String through, you'd actually have holes punched in the guitar, and then the strings would be running through here. And it changes the, I believe it changes the acoustics of the guitar. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a guitar expert. Yes, you are. There we go. That's a quick rundown. Let's go check it out in more detail. All right, let's get going here. We'll start with the weight. Put it on the little scale here. This is actually a food scale from Canadian Tire. Okay, 3.109 kilos, which is 6.86 pounds. Super duper light. Really, really light. Checking out the pickup resistance here. So starting with the neck pickup. 3.53. Just trying to get the angle there. Sometimes the light reflects weird, so neck and middle 1.770. I was like, what? What is it? What is that? That's a weird number. Anyways, that's what it is. Middle pickup, they should all be pretty much the same. 3.53 again. You can see it there. Come on, twist it. Okay, middle and bridge 1.777. These are weird numbers. And then the bridge 3.55. That extra 0.02, so much hotter. So here I'm just loosening the strings, and the point of doing this is I just want to give enough give so that I can pull up the pick guard. I used to take the strings off completely and then waste so much time trying to restring them, or I'd just throw out the strings and put on new strings. Such a waste. Anyways, here you got to be careful. You just never know how much wiring and how much extra wiring they give you. You don't want to pull out the pick guard and rip out the pots, and I'm not saying I've ever done that I can remember, but I'm sure it's probably easy to do. So yeah, just taking some extra time here. Flip it over. You know what? Even on a cheap guitar like this, like price-wise, I'm still very careful. I treat it like any other guitar. I don't want to scratch the paint. I'm not trying to make a relic here. So we're going to take a look at some close-ups here. Here's the inside, and you can see it's got shielding paint. There's a ground wire going to it. It's always cool to see the shielding paint. It just helps hopefully reduce the hum of these single coils. You got these micro alpha pots. I say micro because they're tiny. They're minis, but and probably the cheapest PCB switch I've ever seen, by far. So nothing special under here. And then we're going to take a close look at the pickups. If you can recognize what those digits mean, that's awesome, because I have no clue. Maybe that's you can see this one's a little bit ripped here. You can just see the magnets are pretty cheap. Like, this is nothing special. It's what you'd expect at this price point. Taking out the output jack ferruli. How do you say it? Do you even say it? Do you just call it the input jack? I used to call it the input jack. And people are like, it's an output jack. I'm like, you're just a jackass. Oh my God, somebody died in here. Look at this. It's full of blood. What has happened? It's a murder scene. No, I don't know. It's just the way the paint dried. That's the way the paint dries sometimes. And so just putting it back on again, you want to be careful. You don't want to, scratch the paint or rip it or anything like that. So put it all back together, screw it up. Before I screw it up, I mean screw it back on is what I meant. I do a tap test, get an amp, plug in, take a piece of metal like a screwdriver, turn the volume up, tap your, oops, sorry if I was yelling there. Tap your pickups. I just get so excited talking about this. Tap your pickups, make sure the wiring is still good. Then you're good to screw it up. And when I say screw it up, I mean put the screws in. Screw up sounds pretty good though, because really you are screwing it up. There we go, screwing it up. I'm so fast at this. It's amazing. All right, are you ready for this? I'm ready. I'm gonna read all the specs, the official specs from Fender.com. So if anything's wrong, it's their fault. So this is the body is made of poplar. We've got a gloss polyurethane body finish. It's a maple neck, C shape. The fretboard is Indian Laurel. I mentioned that. 21 frets. They're medium jumbo. Fingerboard radius is a 9.5. It's a 25.5 inch scale length. And the body is satin urethane. Sounds delicious. Synthetic bone nut. The nut width is 1.650 inches. Standard truss rod. We've got a white perloid dot inlays. And the bridge pickup, middle pickup, and neck pickup are all standard single coil Strat pickups. And like I mentioned, you got a 5-way selector, a 6-saddle string through body hardtail. So they're wrong. I'm reading the site. That's totally wrong. That's a copy paste mistake. Good job, Fender. Okay, chrome hardware, and you got a 1-ply pickguard finish, 4-bolt standard. It does have a slim body, 42 millimeter body profile, if anybody was interested in that. So there we go. Now let's move on to something here. This is something special. I know people like this. I don't know why, but I'll just let you listen. If you want to skip ahead to the playing part, go look at the timestamps. But otherwise, I'll just let you enjoy this, you weirdos. And we're back. For me, that was 2 seconds ago. Okay, so you got to see it up close, you got to hear it, and now's the part of the video where I do like a summary and my pros and cons. So I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and if I recommend the guitar. So first of all, let's talk about the pros. It's super light. Body weight is super light. That's always a plus to me, I think. I prefer a light guitar over a heavy guitar. That's just me. If you're into light guitars, you'd probably be comfortable with this. I like the Fiesta Red. It's obviously it's an acquired taste. I know a lot of people don't like it, and some people do like it. So that's just one of those things. It's a cosmetic thing, right? The fret ends are really nice. I'm happy with that. I've seen some other guitars like Fender, higher price guitars with bad fret ends. So it's hit and miss, right? You can get a really good setup, really good frets, or you can get a dud. And just remember, this is one specimen out of this is mass produced, right? So there's chances, depending where you are in the world, you could get a dud, you could get sharp frets. The one I got was good. So all I can review is what I have here, and they were pretty good. I mentioned this earlier. I think the hardtail bridge is maybe a better thing for somebody just starting out, like a beginner. And it's just one thing that's gonna help the guitar probably stay in tune a little bit better. And I can't guarantee that, but I'm just talking about a trem system with the bar. That can pull a guitar out of tune, especially in the lower priced ones. So that could be a positive. Now, with that being said, let's go into a few cons that I'll mention. And again, these pros and cons are my own personal take on this, my own personal opinion. You can disagree with me or agree with me, or be meh and not really care. Like with an entry-level guitar, the hardware is relatively cheap. The hardware just feels a little bit cheaper. It's just something you're gonna find is they use cheaper metals. It's just a known thing. The electronics are definitely cheap. That's usually, that won't be a concern unless you're really playing hard and do these wear out and break? They're using these PCB switches. Yeah, the electronics, the pots, and that's how they're saving money, right? They're using smaller parts and cheap electronics. The wiring looked adequate. It's everything's working. So I'll give it that, but it's just cheap stuff. One of the other cons, this could be a pro or a con for you. I'm gonna say it's a con. It's not a string through, and that might change the tone of the guitar. I don't have a string through Bullet HT, so I don't know if they actually make one. I don't think they do. I think you'd have to go to the next level up, the Affinity, or possibly the single coil version that has the trem system in it. Obviously that's gonna be a string through because it's going through the back. One of the cons, the fret tops, surfaces are very scratchy. That's something that can be remedied by polishing them. So, it's not a deal breaker, but it's just something to mention. I always mention that. And they just don't do as much work on these ones. Not really too much to say about it. I mean, it's fine. It's a cool guitar. It's did I mention the price? The price, I guess the price would be a pro. I forgot to mention that. It's low priced, right? Relatively. Like in Canada, these are $249. I bought it on Amazon for $249.99. Would I recommend it? This is always a tough one. I'm gonna give my opinion on what I mean by recommend it. Would I buy this guitar for myself? No, I wouldn't. It just doesn't do it for me. I did buy it, and the reason I bought it was so I could review it and check it out. I've never tried a Bullet Stratocaster, so I wouldn't, it's just not awe-inspiring for me. It's just, it's just okay. Would this be good for a beginner? I think so. I think it'd be pretty good. It was playable out of the box. It seems to be set up okay. And again, they can be hit or miss because I hear people telling horror stories. I don't know, I've been really lucky. Of all the guitars I bought, I think I've had one or two that had some major problems where I had to send it back. But otherwise, they're pretty good. And that leads me into the second thing. Say you were somebody that's into modding guitars. This would be pretty good for that. I don't see any issues with getting it for, so if you're a modder, go for it. Because you could switch if you know how to do that stuff. Or if you wanted to get into modding, if you wanted to play around with switching pickups or tuners, a lot of that stuff's pretty simple and pretty easy to do. So you probably don't want to do that on an expensive guitar first time. And this would be the kind of thing that you want to do for a modder. So kind of do for a modder, yeah. And I'm going to recommend this, and I know this isn't, I know the world, there's so many different countries and there's so many different situations in the world, maybe this is the only guitar you can get or afford, and if that's what you can get and that's what you can afford, then that's fine. I would, if you can, recommend going up to the Classic Vibe. If you could get a Classic Vibe 50s Strat over this, if you can save up for that, maybe you're just not able to get it because they don't sell them where you are, but I would go up for that. But again, that's just my opinion. A lot of people like the satiny necks on these. They don't like the glossy neck on the Classic Vibe. Just throwing it out there, so take it or leave it. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. Although I didn't recommend it, I said, modders and beginners would be fine for. It'd be fine for modders and beginners. I do have affiliate links if you're interested in getting guitars, maybe this one or something else. And the way affiliate links work, I have a link with Amazon and with Thomann, and if you buy something through that, it gives me a little percentage, and it doesn't change the price, and then I'm using that money to buy more of these. And going to continue to go through the cycle of checking out new guitars. Hopefully these videos are helpful for people that just want to see what they're going to get rather than them trying it out for the first time. I know there's a lot of people buying guitars recently. Hopefully there's a lot of new players and maybe you're not sure what to get, so that's the idea with these videos. So I get to check them out too. I always like opening new guitars. It's fun to do. All right, that's going to do it for this video. Again, I'm Landon. Please subscribe to the channel. Please click a like on the video. Share this video around. If you haven't already, check out the unboxing. It'll be in the cards. As always, play guitar and have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.